Hey guys, we are finally live. Just a second as I cut the sound here. Okay. Finally, there's been a few issues. So I'm just gonna be checking that you guys get the information that you can join us for this stream. Just took a few minutes of delay. Let me ping everyone there. Okay, I see that a few more people are joining now. Hey, Kim, welcome. So, sorry, folks, there's been a stupid mistake that happened. Basically, as the stream was starting, I had some issues with the sound on the game. So, when I basically force closed the game, I also stopped the recording in like just a few seconds after it started, simply because there's been a bit of a delay on the button. When I launched the stream, it didn't show me that it was starting, so I repressed the button almost instantly and as an instinct, and boom, the stream was over. So I did not even have the time to say hi or anything. I will have to delete this, probably 2 or 3 seconds video that is on there right now as a live content, but we made it. So I'm sorry about that. It's been a bit of a weird hiccup, but at least now we are all there and we will be able to start with this fight night. And we will actually today start with the advanced and hardcore players. As I was saying the other time, we'll try to alternate between the two armies. And I'm just going to be answering to a few people that are asking what is going on and why is it not the good, what's going on with the stream. So just making sure as many people can possibly catch us as possible. Okay. So in the meantime, now I need to catch everything because nothing was where it's supposed to be. So I see that we have DOZKAN here. See that we have Max Don. Hi, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it was a bumpy start, but at least it's there. So we should be able to start pretty much right away. As usual, I'm always waiting a few minutes. Hey, I see that we have Tsa with us as well. As I was saying, I'm always waiting a few minutes. Given the technical issues there, I'm just going to wait a few minutes more to make sure people have the opportunity to catch up and be on the right stream. I mean, technically, they cannot really do anything on the other one since it's already over, but at least everything is, at least we'll have as many possible people joining us. It's a bit sad because this time around I was able to communicate clearly in advance the list for everyone that is going to be in the stream today. Thanks to a little discovery on my side, I never realized that we can actually set up several fight nights at the same time. As long as only one is live, everything is fine. So I should be now able to do that from now on. So that's quite cool. You will be able to see in advance who's going to join for the two fights. So Kim, we're starting with hard/advanced today. The idea would be to alternate every time so that we do not always need for the advanced guys to wait for the end of the stream and wait if they have to switch their armies, etc. And on the other end, always have the normal and regular players to start. So we'll be alternating most likely. The only exception would be if really we have like 10 people that registered for one of the categories, then we would go with the one where we have barely no one right away, so that we then focus on the big chunk of players. But usually I wouldn't say it's 50-50. Right now it's more or less 2/3 and 1/3, but there's a decent amount of players registering for both. Okay, so we should be able to start. I'm just rechecking that the Fight Night is live on the proper account, but that's the case. Rechecking that the players list did not move, so we should be good to go. Yeah, let's just roll with it. So actually, you've almost been in for a super fast stream today. Outside of the technical issue that made it, the one that started a bit earlier is just a few seconds long, so it's probably going to be the fastest in the history of the channel, even though obviously I will delete it. But you almost ended up having a super easy fight, because up until this morning, I completely forgot that a new era started. And so even for those accounts that are usually, they're not accounts on which I play every day, they're accounts we only open for the stream or preparing the stream, I completely forgot that I needed to put new power stones in there. So you almost ended up fighting me with no power stones, which would have probably made this stream super fast. Wonderfully fast, most likely. So yeah, that would have been a pretty weird experiment. Okay, so now that I talked a bit about all of that, how are you guys doing? It's been only a week since we last had a stream. For those that are wondering why there's this weird pattern at the moment, the reason is when there were the login and crashes issues, we delayed for 1 week the stream, and then I asked you guys if you would prefer to have the stream happening this week and then every 2 weeks, so pretty much sticking to the formula we've known so far, or to basically delay this one today to next week and move basically the rhythm, but you guys preferred to keep it the way it is. My guess, it's just me, but my guess is that you wanted gems more just faster than you would if it would have been delayed by an extra week, which makes sense. Beginning of the season, beginning of the era as well. It's probably a time when you guys would enjoy getting some gems to get the best start in the era and in the season. I know as well that this era in particular is very heavy with the power stones pool, so that means obviously that you need a lot more power stones than usual to be able to get the ones you want. At the same time, I do enjoy a lot the corrupted ones personally. I think it's a good spin on the usual. Maybe there's too many of them, I don't know. That would be something to check at one point to see if there's some of them that are just never used, then maybe it makes sense not to put them in. But for the others, I feel like it can be a good shift in the meta. I do feel like if you have a build like, ethereal or something like this, where you want to be swarming as fast as possible and get the fight to last as few seconds as possible, then I think some of those corrupted power stones can help you quite drastically with that as well, with the risk that if the fight just lasts just more than 15 seconds, you're pretty much guaranteed to die and lose. But that's a good risk to be taken. So yeah, that could be quite interesting. Also, usually I'm always starting by asking you how the sound is. I had some issues with the sound of the game when I started the stream initially. So just checking if you guys can hear me well, if everything is fine on your side. If you're, well, I mean, there's no sound in the game right now, but if you're able to hear everything properly, that's what will be the most important. Also, Nappy, I see you pretty much every stream talking in a language that I don't understand, at least to welcome everyone in the chat. So yeah, I will make a note for myself and I will look what language it actually is and make sure that next time we are able to answer to you. So that will be a small mission to myself because I want everyone to be basically greeted when they're joining the stream. So yeah, outside of that, as I was saying, just asking how you guys are doing. I hope that you're all having a great week and a better week than last week, because yeah, we've had quite some issues last week that we had to deal with. So yeah, I hope that things are going better now on your side. I see actually that it's Japanese for Nappy. I'm a bit surprised because usually I'm not too bad at recognizing Japanese, but I know that there's different ways to write Japanese, so that's probably why I didn't recognize it. If it's indeed Japanese, then welcome. You have a very wonderful and fascinating country. I've had the pleasure of visiting Japan 4 years ago now, 4 years ago. And yeah, it was one of the most amazing journey I've been on. I think for anyone like me that lives in Europe, Japan is a place that we have a lot of expectations when we go visit Japan, but I'm yet to hear anyone that would have been disappointed or anything like this. You might be surprised by some stuff, obviously, but what I mean pretty much is that there's not a Tokyo syndrome or a Kyoto syndrome like there can be a Paris syndrome when people come to Paris and realize that, oh, it's actually not at all like what I expected, and they're disappointed. Actually, it's a real thing. If you want to look into it, the Paris syndrome, it's a very weird thing when you go somewhere expecting something and you're so disappointed that it actually shocks you. And it's, yeah, I can say for myself that there's not such thing in when you travel to Japan. Yeah, so glad to see that everything is fine on your hands. I see that we're Black Canary 77 in here. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Actually, as we were talking about Sa, it's time for you to shine. If I remember correctly, last time it was a close fight, but I think this time you're gonna be wiping me in no time. So yeah, as I was saying, Japan, big trip. So I don't know, is there any places that you've been, any country that you visited that really stood out from all the other places you might have been to in your life as something really astonishing, surprising, so different from what you're used to as well, like a cultural shock? Is there any places like this that you've managed to visit? I think it's something wonderful with our times compared to, people 70, 80, 90 years ago or 100 years ago that for most of them would never really have the opportunity to really travel abroad except for some specific professions. So that's something that's quite interesting. So DOZKAN, you asked me how I feel about the people's reaction on these two new units. It's pretty on par with what I expected. Mostly, I knew that the mechanism for the Trickster would be something that people would be quite excited with. I know that there's a lot of talks at the moment to know if it's potentially too weak And I think it might be the case. As always with units, with new units, we might need to rebalance it slightly, but we're being very careful because if we make it just a bit too strong, it would basically become an overtime killer, because as you've seen, and a lot of you already talked about that, but when you go into overtime and you have this unit, it starts to be damaging a lot because you basically get such a fast rhythm of attacks that even if the damage is very low, it ends up piling up once the game is spinning up in overtime. So if we make the unit slightly stronger, it might become really OP in overtime. And then again, maybe that's something we might want to do. But since it's a common unit, if I'm not mistaken, might be too strong for the overtime. So that's something we'll be cautious about. I think we will probably have to slightly increase the damage, but I wouldn't expect too strong of a change, because then, as I said, in overtime that might become way too big. So that's something we need to look into. As for the Banshee, the Banshee, the thing is, because it's a new condition, it was kind of expected that it would be taking a bit more time for people to know if they want to use it, how they want to use it, what's the benefit of it for them or not. The way I see it is that the Banshee is more of a highly specific unit that we will see popping up in specific builds and specific situations. It's not a unit that I expect to see everywhere, like the Trickster is a unit that can fit a lot more scenarios, I would say. So yeah, that's for the two first units. I can tell you, if I remember correctly, we don't yet have it released. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's not released yet. But the next skin for the Trickster is by far my favorite skins that we created so far. Actually, I told you a few lives ago that I saw some of the upcoming units and that there was one that I absolutely loved the design of, and that was the Trickster. I love the way this unit is made and shaped, and I actually really like the skin that is coming with it. And I also saw some of the concept that we have further down the road for other skins potentially for that unit. And it's the kind of unit on which it seems to me that no matter the skin that you go for, it just works, because the unit to start with has a design that is quite interesting. So yeah, quite happy on that. I was also extremely happy with the reactions I've seen from people for the content we released for Halloween, because some of the skins we released were stuff that pretty much, the way we work, I'm aware of those skins most of the time, like 2-3 months before they make it to the game, because that's when you get the initial design phase validated. And I do not always see like all the sketches and all of that, because the artists won't be showing me everything they do, right? But when they validate a mock-up of a design, I know basically that this might be coming sooner rather than later. And when they shared, I think it's the one for the bomb, when they shared this one with the little skeleton walking with the bomb as a pumpkin, this one I was like, yeah, to me it's a perfect design for Halloween, obviously, but I just really, really loved the way it looks and the animation. Everything worked so fine with this unit, so I was quite happy of the reaction. And was it the Wind River as well that had a skin, and I know that you guys wanted a new skin for that unit for a very long time, so that's also something that got me quite hyped to see your reactions. Are there 2 more units coming this era? Yes, there will be 2 more units coming this era. Just to be clear, it's not like something we would do regularly. Having 4 units in an era is quite exceptional. The reason why it happens is because this era is a bit special. I cannot tell you 100% yet how it's gonna be, but the last season of this era happens right at the end of December or early January, and that moment of time is a moment when we almost cannot do anything, because if anything wrong happens, Apple and Google won't let us upload new versions, or it's only for emergency, but it still would take quite some time to get fixed and released. Which means if we were to start a new era right at the end of December, early January, if anything goes wrong with the era, we are pretty much guaranteed that there will be 2, 3, 4 days until it can be sorted. And that could basically screw up the entire era. So what will happen at the end of December is that there will be an extra week before the new era starts. And at the moment, what it looks like is that this final season might get turned into a 3 weeks season. If not, if it's a 2 week season, then that would mean we would have 1 week without an era where we would offer you new events, new content, something different. But it seems more likely than that the last season will last longer. And with boosted rewards as well, etc., because it's the Christmas time anyway. But the goal for us is to be on the safe spot when the next era will start. And that's also why you have more units in this era. It's because it will take a bit more time before you get something new coming in after that. So that's what we're looking at. Also, the other reasoning behind this is that, as you've seen with the Banshee and the Trickster, usually when we release 2 units, you have one that is quite quickly adopted by the community, and the other one is really a niche unit that will fit very specific scenarios. So in that context, it's a bit different than when back in the early days of the game, when there were so many options yet left for units that would be quickly adopted. When you would release 2 units, you would be almost sure that the 2 units would be used a lot, because you were in a spot where you still had a lot of different options that players needed. Nowadays, if we are 100% honest, I don't think most of you guys need brand new units just for the sake of making your builds better. The reason why you like new units is because for your specific gameplay it might be interesting, so that's the niche one, or because we bring something that kind of twists the meta a little, and then everyone kind of goes for it a little, just like for the Wormhole or something like this. And because of that, we know that when we release 2 units, it's almost guaranteed that one will be widely adopted and the other one will be a very niche thing. And that's why we have a tendency to release units bundled in bundles of 2, because we know that it won't be like it used to be at one point, when every single new release of a unit would be a massive game changer for the community. At this point, it's not necessarily the case. So, yeah, I think that answers your question. Something we haven't discussed yet, because I want to give you some updates on that. We have not forgotten about compensating players for the Android crashes and issues on the login side that happened about 10 days ago now. The reason why it takes a bit more time is because we're still figuring out what we can do to identify the players. What it means is we are trying to identify the players that were facing crashes, because if we are able to isolate this group of players properly, we can give them a slightly better suited compensation than if, let's say, we have to go for every Android player that was logged in between that and that day, then in this case, we will have to make a call that will be rather good for some players and not amazing for some others. That's just the nature of compensation. You can never fully compensate everything a player might have gotten because every player will be different, and we cannot just go to every player and do this manually. Would be a nightmare. So we have to find a way to bundle players and get them the best we can. And in order to do that, we're still fine-tuning lists of players, checking like, okay, if we use this criteria, are we actually catching everyone that was impacted or not? And ultimately, it might be that we find out the only way to go is to give something to all the Android players that were active around that time. And that's why it takes a bit more time. But I can guarantee you there will be a compensation. That was a very exceptionally bad situation that we were in. And we need, obviously, to compensate our players. It's just fair to you guys. We're just trying to see what will be, what's the best scenario for us to fetch all the players that were impacted. And depending on that, we will be able to decide how much we can give, what we can give out, etc. I cannot tell you much more about what will be done here. We are trying to considerate the main scenario for the players, right? So if, let's say, you're someone that is spinning hundreds and hundreds of times every day and you're buying auto tokens because that's your thing, it's guaranteed that the compensation you might get will not fit that specific type of gameplay. But on the other end, you would get stuff you might not be caring that much in your own gameplay. You know, like maybe you don't care about the skirmish, maybe you don't care about red bosses as much because other people in your clans are kind of taking care of it and you're just sailing with the flow there. We are just going to be trying to do the best we can. And with compensation, I know by experience it's never going to be perfect. There will obviously be some people that will lose a little compared to what they might have gotten if there was no problem. And on the other end, there are some players that will get more, potentially, than what they would have because they're usually not that active, etc. But sadly, there's just no way we can go around that. So we're just trying to do the best we can there. And I really think we will be able to have that sorted out or at least fully communicated to you by the end of the week. That's definitely our goal. And yeah, you should get some news on that quite soon. Okay, so let me have a check as to where we stand because we have done quite a few. Okay, we have done 27 out of the 40 players that are in this section. So yeah, we're on a good path so far. Okay, is there any other question that you might have? Anything else that I can tell you? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can tease you. As I was saying earlier, we will have some stuffs coming up for the end of the year period. More than likely, you will see something similar to what you've seen for the anniversary event or for Halloween. But you will also get a bit more. Usually we try to boost rewards a little during this period of the year, so that's one thing you can expect to see there. Matrama, hey, welcome to the stream. So for the clan leaderboard discrepancies. So the update I can give you is that we're still looking into it. There's a few new elements that were shared by Crucibles, but also by you guys that have been helping out the team. To sum it up for the people that might not be aware, what you guys found out is that it's not based on players, because when you all left the clan, your clan had negative numbers, which shouldn't be the case, right? And at the same time, Crucible mentioned something very valuable that I didn't realize before, and it's the fact that the individual scores that you see are not dynamic. They're taking the scores that you had last season. So that means it's normal that there's a discrepancy between your score, your individual score, and the clan score, which is a dynamic one. But still, in your case, we can see that if we're adding up all of your individual number and we compare it to last season final clan score, there's still a discrepancy. So we are trying to look into what is causing this. There seems to be a weird set of data or caching that is still in place there and is giving this discrepancy. So at the moment we are trying to identify where that might be coming from. And yeah, as soon as I have some more news, I will share that with you. As I was saying earlier, because right now we need our dev team to still work out on the data to get compensations going. We still have some players that are facing crashes. It's a very few players at this point, but they have very strong crashes. So we are trying to have devs look into that as well. And we obviously have some development for the game going on as well. So that's why, sadly, the leaderboard issue, it's a bit sad, I would say, because if we spotted that 2 weeks earlier, it might have been something we would be able to fix faster. But because of all the stuff that has happened on the fire side lately, we've been firefighting most of the time on the development side with the faulty updates, etc. As you know, that definitely delayed us. But I think we should be able to get you some updates already on by the next stream for sure. But more than likely next week, I should be able to get you some more news on that, because I know that some devs are actually looking into this a bit further today and tomorrow. So we should have some more news for you. Yeah, and I know you guys moved to a new clan for now. And just for me to be sure, you don't spot any weird discrepancies there, like nothing major. It's okay if there's still a small discrepancy, but so far you haven't spotted anything bigger than the few dozens of points that might always happen on such a scenario, right? They remain consistent. You mean within the frame of what we're expecting, or consistent as it's still minus 4k trophies? Because then that would be rather worrying for me, because that means the scope of the issue is even bigger than we expected. Okay, so minus 10 to minus 50 is something I would expect given the scores we're talking about and the fact that it's dynamic but asynchronous. That would be something that I would consider normal. Definitely, yeah, the 5k on your old account is definitely not normal. So we'll look into this. The fact that it's one of the oldest clans might also explain why there could be some caching issue on your clan that is not there for the very vast majority of clans as well. If you guys know of some of the earliest clans that are still active, we might check those and see if they also would be facing the same. That might help us identify the issue a bit faster as well. Okay, so DOZKAN, I think I saw you were asking if we have any features currently in development. Yes, we do. One thing that I already mentioned is that right now we are looking at a global red boss system. So the idea would be, outside of the usual red bosses that you face, there would be a global red boss that has an insane amount of HP, and this boss is actually something that all the players, all the clans can attack. And the concept here is that if, as a community, we're able to defeat the boss, everyone will get some rewards. And on top of that, there will be a clan ranking for this event with specific rewards, and there will most likely be as well an individual ranking, which would allow you guys to say, okay, for that event, the best clan is those guys, and for that event, the best player is this guy, but not in an asynchronous system as it currently is with the red bosses, because in this case, since everyone fights the same boss, that means as well you have to know when you put your effort in, right? Because if you wake up a bit too late, then maybe the boss is already gone and you did not manage to deal as much damages as you would have wanted, or maybe there will be specific events happening to that boss during the duration of the event that would make you, get more points or anything like this. So the idea is that such an event should be allowing you to really measure yourself a bit more against other clans and other players outside of the regular season. Because to me, the thing is that the season, it makes sense to look at it from the individual point of view, but to look at the season results for the clan, it's not always making much sense, because depending on where your players are, they might be at a point where they're just losing constantly, so they're not really spinning that much because they need to level up their army, and in order to do that, they focus more on red boss, they focus on other stuffs. And if that's the case, then potentially you might end up having a clan that does not have amazing results for the season, but it's still a very strong clan, right? So we're trying to bring something else that you guys can use as a way to compete with other clans, and that's what this feature is about. That's also a way for us to bring you a brand new event that is competitive, where still anyone can contribute and get some rewards. In the meantime, while we work on the actual clan wars, because the clan wars, as you know, that's a feature that will take months and months in the process. So the idea is, if we are able to bring you this global red boss system early next year, for example, and the clan wars only come for 4 months or 5 months, something like this later, we know that we still offer you something fresh and brand new to work with and have some fun with before the clan wars. It's important for us to bring a fresh and interesting event soon, and we know that the clan wars is just a scope that is still too big at the moment to bring it anytime soon, and we don't want to leave you guys with like 6 months without a brand new event. So that will probably be something coming up before the full-fledged clan wars could probably come. If that answers your question about new development, that's the big thing that we're working on. Outside of that, there's a lot of smaller things we'll work on, but they will probably come after that. Pretty much, as I was saying the other time already, we are reaching the end of the year, and this period of the year is very specific because we cannot do too much, right? What I mean by this is that at the end of the year, I will stop the other spin because we finished, everyone. At the end of the year, we are limited into how many updates we can release. And new features mean brand new updates, right? So we cannot necessarily bring too much. So there's a few things we're working on, but those would probably be released later on. So that goes from a merchant system, as I already said a few times, that we want to have at one point in the game, that would allow you to basically exchange different resources. There's obviously the new system for artifacts that we are looking into. And out of the stuff we work on, there will still be a few additions potentially to ads similar to what we've done to the shop. Again, the idea with ads is they will not be forced, so they will not be popping up at the end of the battle forcing you to watch an ad or anything like this. What they're looking at the moment is more like if you want to double the rewards you get at the end of a fight, from time to time, you will get the option to watch an ad and get this. It's not going to be something that would happen all the time, because, imagine if you have 200 spins, that would bring 200 fights, right? Yes, I know that the auto spin stopped, Matrema, and that's because we are done with the list. Indeed, yeah, you just got up. So I'm just gonna be closing the event, granting you guys the rewards, and the switch will be a lot faster than usual, because this time around everything is already set up, and that's something I'm quite proud of. For once, I've managed to do that quite well. So let's just change our accounts. Okay, so time now for the regular easy fight. We have a total of 46 players. They're all listed already on YouTube. So we should be able to go there. For this little lapses, just know that I actually also sometimes have to do some streams on Facebook for other games. And so that is the reason why sometimes between Facebook Direct and YouTube it can get confusing. So yeah, the event is live. We have our auto spin, so we should be good to go. Let's go. Yes, everything is working as intended. And that's a strong player, so I should lose right away to start with. Achilles, no, I didn't change the army this week, simply because since it was voted to have the stream happening this week, I just didn't have the time to really bring something fresh to the table. But for the next stream, there will be new armies, slightly new armies at least. For the easy advanced, the easy regular army, it will be brand new entirely. I will start from scratch. For the hardcore one, we'll see. I received a few propositions from players, so I will see how they're looking. Otherwise, we'll have a variation of the one I already have. Hey DOZKAN, the ad update was a bit disappointing, to be honest. You get 6 more gems each day and are forced to watch an ad for the free wagon. So, yeah, the thing is, for us, it's a system implementation, right? So now that the system is in place, we can go a bit further with that and make it a bit better. For the free wagons, I think it will be nicer as well for the gems, etc. Once you guys start to get it without having to watch an ad, which will happen. It's as you know, it's a percentage based system, which means, for example, that people that are regularly spending in the game, we've been quite transparent with that, people that are spending regularly in the game have a lower chance of having to watch an ad, or the other way around, depending on how you want to look at it. But the idea is, since you're already investing money in the game, you should be able to not have to watch ads. And if we have more ads being added to the game, which will be the case, there will be a point where there will be an option to not watch any ads for a small amount. From what I know, the concept from that would be to have another layer of the season pass, where you could basically get like a season pass plus that would bypass all the ads and grant you also some more additional rewards, obviously. So yeah. Yeah, Matt Remar, you're basically describing what I said, that your main profile, you don't have to watch ads because you're most likely to a level of spendings on that account that makes it so that we consider that you don't need to be watching any. And obviously for your other accounts, you get one free every 4 to 7 days. Yeah, that's pretty much what we expect. So yeah. But that's the initial system. The interesting part for us is if that is working well, then that means on the longer run, people will more often see free stuffs, because let's say we have not 3 options where you might be seeing an ad, but you have a total of 10 somewhere, you will get pretty much a free reward every day, right? So that's the kind of things we're looking at. I'm saying 10, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you we're going to be adding tons of ads everywhere. That's not the idea. There's a few more options I know that are looked into. As I told you, like something to double the rewards. Something that might be also happening that we're looking at the moment would be something that allows you to get the shards you're missing for a unit, for example, or something like this. Against an ad, like if you get close to the moment when you would be able to upgrade a unit, but you're just missing some of those shards, that might be something we'll do. Of course, that's going to be way more valuable for people that are starting or not yet at very high level, but that would be something. And yeah, that's the kind of things we would be doing. The idea is still that we don't want to have ads that are there all the time, meaning we are not going to be giving you like, hey, every time you do action X, there's an ad, because we don't want you to have to watch 50 ads a day to get the rewards you're supposed to. The idea is more like, hey, the other system we would add would not be like the ones we've just added that happens once a day. It would be more like, hey, from time to time, just like you have the free stuffs offered in the Rail shipment from time to time. From time to time, you will be offered to double your victory rewards for watching an ad. Or from time to time, you will get offered to be bypassing the few last shards that you need for leveling a unit if you're watching an ad. So that's more of the things we want to do. Like, it's not going to be happening all the time. It's going to be popping up from time to time so that it's also less annoying for you guys, and it makes it also a bit more valuable. But yeah, that's also something we're currently still working on. Okay. Is there any other question I could answer to, guys? Anything else you have in mind? As usual with the easy/normal difficulty, it's going super fast. So we will probably be done very quickly with this stream. But of course, it was a bit of a different one since we had one last week. We also had less people that registered. To give you an idea, usually we have about, a bit more than 200. This time we had only 150. So that means in the recorded fight night, there will be just probably like, I think if I remember correctly, there will be like 55 players left. So that should be a shorter video. And that's why we're also not making the stream way longer today. And yeah, in 2 weeks' time, there will be another one. We'll try to have new armies, as I was saying. You lost the fight night last time, but this time you'll win. Let me see. Where are you on the list, DOZKAN? Number 27. Okay, we'll see. Probably in, 7-8 minutes. I must admit, for this easy army, I had a little fun experimenting with the power stones. I don't think they're that great, to be honest, the combination that I selected, but I was like, if you don't have fun with this setup, this army, then when are you gonna be having fun, right? So that's why I focused on that here. Also, because I'm seeing this ice setup, some of you might be asking about this. We are working on the ice trap. We have spotted the issue. We were able to find where it comes from, so that should be sorted rather quickly. And so far, from what I understood, it won't require any new updates whatsoever. So that means we would be able to do it with just a data push. And if that's the case, that means tomorrow or the day after, it will be sorted. I'm not promising anything, as always, with bug fixing. Until it's fully fixed in the game, I don't want to take any responsibility there. But so far, since it was reported to the team, it's been progressing quite fast. So that shouldn't be long before it's fully settled. Okay, folks, do we have any further question? Just so you know, I've just deleted the faulty stream that started earlier today for just a few seconds. And it's funny that even for something that lasted just a few seconds, YouTube is still asking me 3 times, are you sure you want to delete this? Yeah, because there's just my face on it, but nothing being said or done or whatsoever. So yes, YouTube, please. Get it out. Take it out. Take it out. Okay. Any new plan on nerfing Spare Tier 5? We are going to be relooking into what we can do for those artifacts for spare and boots, for the combination especially. For the upcoming seasons. I don't know if it will be ready for the next season or the one after that, but that's something we'll look into. Again, if you have suggestions of what we could do, like that is just about lowering existing effects and not actually changing the behavior, etc., because that requires development, but something that is really on the balancing side of reducing an effect. We are all ears. Just let me know on Discord as well. There's been a few discussions about that already, so we have some direction to look at. But we'll try to have something ready for that rather quickly, because we know that this is the biggest stressing point right now with artifacts, and that everything else, once we have a new renewed system in place or revamped or whatever we want to call it, we will be able to address some of the issues we have with the existing system. But at least for the balancing side of it, we should try to do something about the ones that are very concerning as soon as possible. Yeah, so you're suggesting to make the tier 5 spear launch a meteor every 1.5 seconds. What is the current timing? It's every second, right? If that's the case, if currently it's 1 second, yeah, that's something we need to look into. And yeah, it's 1 second. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I can look into that with the team. I will definitely forward that to them anyway, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. I did not even see that you had your fight, DOZKAN. It was going too fast, and I was mostly focusing on what I wanted to share with you folks, so I didn't even see it. Did you win? Did you end up winning this time? You missed it as well. Oh, come on. That's new and unexpected. What a turn of event, DOZKAN. I was not ready for that one. Of all people, you should be the one to know if you won or lost. I mean, you will know once the rewards are out, which by the look of it will be in just a few minutes. At this at the speed we're currently going, we have 12 fights to go, so that will be very fast. But yeah, I was not expecting this one, DOZKAN. Well, okay. One thing also to mention, there are a few of you that are getting their player tags wrong when they are registering. And there's a few that I've spotted are basically copy-pasting, or I don't know if they have a script that registered themselves, or if it's another player registering them, or whatever, but they consistently get it wrong. And so they don't get added to the fight night, and they don't get rewards. So if you're watching this and you feel like, hey, every time I'm trying to be on this and I'm never on it, potentially just double check your player tag, especially things like 0 and O's or stuff like this. If you get it wrong, the problem is there are so many player tags that are very close to one another that I cannot guess. It's okay if people forget the arrobas or the at sign, sorry, French weird stuff. So the at sign or anything like this I can fix. But if you get your entire player tag wrong, that's problematic for me. Or you won DOZKAN. Okay, cool. Then the suspense was not too long. So yeah, glad to hear you won this time around, and that means I need my army to be stronger next time. Just kidding. I'm not gonna make the army a lot stronger for this fight. As you've seen a few times, we have players just like Toboggan, etc. There are players that are still with rather low artifacts and want to fight in it, and it's fine. They deserve to at least have a good battle. Even if they don't win, they should feel like it's not unreachable for them. That's the way I feel. And look at him. He might actually do it. It's gonna be a close one, but hey, maybe. Yes, see? That's the kind of thing I want to see with this section of the fight night. Great. Mr.Leatherface, what an appropriate name for the Halloween season. I know it was yesterday, but... So yeah, as I was saying, if you get your player tag wrong in the fight night, there's nothing I can do. So make sure you put the correct one. And also, if you're amongst the few people that are registering several times, you're wasting your time. When we put your player tag in the list, it's gonna only be displayed once, right? So even if you register 2, 3, 4 times, it's not gonna make any difference. So you're just wasting your time in this case. Also, since we're on the topic of registrations, There are a few people that are trying to trick me by registering their alternate account for the contest. Winners should be announced tomorrow, but also as regular accounts. So if you register your accounts for the fight night as regular accounts, please do not put them as well for the contest or the other way around. That's just not fair for the other players, right? Pick your battle. If you want to be in the fight night, that's okay. We accept everyone. If you want to be in the contest and, you know, potentially free a bit of space for other people and potentially win a bit more, we are fine with that. But don't register for both, because then what happens in this case is that I exclude you from the contest. So it's, again, just wasting time, right? Okay, I think we are actually almost there. Yeah, there's just one account left after Kerazul, so it will be a short stream this time around. Yeah, I sure hope that the next stream will be as smooth in terms of the speed of the device, and that the battles won't be lasting too long either. We've been on a good roll for that for the 2 last streams since the last update, so hopefully that will stay the same. It seems like this update is very stable for iOS and has been very good for Android players as well, except the few ones that still have some issues. Again, if you're among those players, we'll do our best to get that sorted. It seems to be device specific at this point, so it's very hard for us to pinpoint the issue. Oh, that's a good question, Matrimar. Does GSG have some Black Friday offers lined up for this year? I'm not supposed to say yes, because I'm not supposed to tell you about primes and stuff. What I will just say is that we would be fools not to have any such things coming up for Black Friday. So do whatever you want of that information. That's all I could say. And yeah, we're done with the fight night. So that will pretty much be it for today. Thank you again for joining us. I will actually stop so that you guys get your rewards right away. Come on. Oh, there you are. Okay, everyone should have gotten their rewards by now. So again, thank you everyone. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with new armies. So have a great end of the day, rest of the day, depending on where you are. Enjoy the new era, the new season, and we'll see each other in 2 weeks. Bye.